This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello and welcome to the Bar Stewards Enquiry Weekend Podcast, where this week we're covering the Newbury meeting with the Lockinge Stakes. Baid is a hot favourite there, and also Newmarket will be covering on the TV preview races and giving our best bets. And joining me this evening, it's short on quantity but good on quality as always. Myself is joined by John Lane. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Lee.
And back, and he's leading the Bar Stewards Naps table, indeed, at the moment. Andy Richmond. Good evening, Andy.
Good evening.
Yes.
Slim down version of the team tonight. I can't say that I'm slimmed down at all, though.
No, there's three big ones on the show tonight. I can assure you. I was myself and John managed a day at York this week, and I had to do a good old Giacomo order, as I'd realised throughout the winter, the old zip on the trousers was a little bit cushiony, so that had to be done. So this is what you have to do to attend a race meeting and be able to eat your dinner without your buttons popping out.
So you got a Giacomo suit, shoes, and no socks then.
Yeah, something like that. But with the socks, the socks bring it. To be fair to York, I did look at a lot of the crowd. I was like staring at a lot of people, and we actually, when we came out of the track, there's some lads, and they all had socks on, didn't they, John?
They must be.
I was very impressed.
Yes. None of this.
Stupidly taking his girlfriend though, which was a clear mistake because the rest of the lads were ostracising him, overtaking his girlfriend. You can see as they're walking into town, they were saying, "Fucking go in, bring her, the bastard."
On their way for a steak.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was certainly an interesting Dante meeting, which we will be covering on the sermon. But for now, we are going to give you what you require for the weekend, something for the weekend, sir. And our best bets are coming up now, and I'm pretty confident I've got some decent tackles, so I hope you two have. Andy, I'm going to come to you first of all for your third best bet, please.
Right. Well, hopefully we won't get the stands rail bias and the charge towards the stands rails at Newmarket for this one. It's Ernie's Valentine, who ran at just get me old notes open here. He emerged from a sprint handicap at Flat HQ last time out. He was drawn amongst the low numbers. In fact, he was drawn 13 of 13, and he did all his running amongst the stand side group in a race that developed once again on the far side this time. It was a race won by Ingrid Tor, who looks a horse who's ahead of the handicapper, but Ernie's Valentine, they've slapped the old blinkers on this time, and Mr. Cole, or the Coles, as I should call them now, have got a decent strike rate when they do that with their blinkered runners first time out. But as you know, I hate strike rates because they're no use to man nor beast. But the winners above expected a respectable 7.4, so they're batting above their, punching above their weight when they slap the old blinkers on. And the race he ran in was actually won the year before by Creative Force. Now, Ernie's will do well to reach the heights of that. But nonetheless, it looks worth a try in a decent grade. He got a bit squeezed out of the start, and Holly Doyle had to switch him up. And that caused her to switch him to the stand side, which wasn't the best of the ground on that occasion, the wrong part of the track. And there wasn't much pace to pull him in the race. But if you watch the race, it actually, to his credit, he actually finished off the race pretty well, coming from a long way back against horses who probably had the run of the race. I thought there'd be other days for him. He's a turf and all-weather winner over 5 and 6 furlongs. He looks the sort of make up into a decent sprint handicapper this season. I wouldn't see the mark of about 90 beyond him. And all being well, he should run a decent race tomorrow. I can't say I'm blindingly confident, and as no Mr. Norman is around, I'm just going to have a sneaky half a point each way on Ernie's Valentine in the 225 at Newmarket. A, because I think it's quite a hot race, to be quite honest with you. And B, I think I'm just not completely convinced about the draw there today. If you haven't seen the race in there today, it was a stand-side front runners fest.
Yes, with the stalls place on the stand side, Andy goes for Ernie's Valentine, 10-1, 4 places, 4 pegs, 1/5 the odds with William Hill is the recorded price for listeners. So good luck, Andy, and thank you for that selection with Ernie's Valentine. John, I am coming to you for your third best.
Indeed, something for the weekend, sir. I'd probably be better off handing out rubber Johnnies than this tip, to be honest. The horse in question is in the 504 at Newbury, and it is Carlton Palmer's Gifted Ruler. First run away from Death Camp Dascombe. Better than these. The ground, in my opinion, won't be too quick for him. I know they took him out at York earlier in the week when I was mildly curious as to how he might run. I think this is probably a weaker race, and I think Carlton's made a good decision having a crack at this. I can see this horse improving for the move, and he's a 1-point win selection.
So that goes in the 504 at Newbury. Is that correct, John, tomorrow? Yes, Gifted Ruler. And it's straight on the nose, this one you want?
Yeah.
That's 8-1 with Bet365, Gifted Ruler, 1-point win. Kieran Fallon in the saddle. No, there was a headwind at Newbury today, and it was very difficult to be in the van, but there's not much wind around tomorrow according to the forecast. So don't worry too much if you are on anything on the front end there tomorrow. Cheers, John, for that. Okay, my third best goes at Newbury, and I am keen to support in the 245 race a Red Vineyard. This now is looking very solid form, is the Red Vineyard. He won a race at Sandown, the Esher Cup meeting, and Red Vineyard won the race from Al Qadir, which has won at York today, the third one at Newmarket last night in Bolt Hole. And interestingly, the time is also backing up the form in the fact that Red Vineyard's time was quicker than no less than Emily Upjohn and Westover. So we've got a time and form correlation here. Obviously, the price is under pressure. Currently 6-1 generally available. I will be astonished if Red Vineyard doesn't go off favourite. So although there's been bigger earlier on, the Vultures have been in, certainly not me, but the 6-1 available is very, very fair. And I'm recommending a 1-point win bet, 6-1 across the board. Red Vineyard, it will probably go off, I'm guessing, around 7-2 fav. And that's one that could certainly pay the way tomorrow there at Newbury. Okay, John, I'm going to whiz it straight back to you for your second best.
My second best bet runs in the 545 at Thirsk. And this is Happy Tim's Temper Trap. Probably should have called it Death Trap, actually, because it's drawn about 50 in the mile race round there. But I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem, to be honest, because I think they'll get a bit thinned out here. This one showed the expected progress from debut last term and ran a lot better than his current price for this race suggests. Was short of room and had nowhere to go and wasn't really knocked about. I mean, there are reasons in just that to believe he's decently handicapped. As I said, the draw's a worry, but I'm very happy to offset that against the price because I think 40-1 is absolutely ridiculous for a horse like this that's clearly on a workable mark at the minute. And I think the yard's coming into what we like to think of as peak Tim. about the middle to end of May time, where you can more or less start backing some of these blind. And he had a nice winner at York today, and one or two others ran fairly well. I think this is massive value tomorrow. I'm going 1 point each way, just in case there's a bit of traffic trouble, but I do think this will run really well.
Interesting choice. See, none of these blogger prices here with John. 40 to 1 available with Paddy Power, Betfair, and BetVictor. You might want to go with Paddy Power or Betfair. That's 40 to 1, 5 pegs, which will give John for his 1 point each way choice. Wide draw, Andy here. No hindrance, is it at Thirsk for the mile?
No, you've heard me on that subject there.
Yes.
I'm I'm an advocate of the wider draw there. They could swing up wide into the straight. It's like that other misnomer that we get, the 1.5 miles at Ascot. Everybody says the low draw there is going to be good. No, it's not. It's rubbish. If you look it up, it's rubbish. In fact, the horse that won on Saturday there, that Juan del Montalban of Kevin Philibert de Foyst, that was a very, very good run to win that from there. A very, very good run. In fact, that race as a whole should work out really well. I was quite impressed with the winner, whose form ties in very well with a few that are, certainly one that's running tonight. Gets Shirty running at Hamilton this evening, and that race the race that Gets Shirty won at Thirsk. The second, third, and fourth all came out and won out of that, so that's proving good form. But no, wide draw it for 7 furlongs and a mile. Not worried at all.
Good stuff. And John, you might be buoyed by paddock guru Adam Norman's notes. On the 20th of April, he said, rangy type, plenty of size, will come on a lot for the run. And he said it was still carrying condition on its last start, John.
I might just double my bet.
Yeah, so twice. Tim's turned up fat twice. He's fooling the second time out punters this year.
He's not daft old smiler, is he?
So no, good selection, John. Yeah, good selection. That okay. Andy, I'm coming to you, please, for your second best.
Right. Well, we're going to have a clash here because whilst I respect your Red Vineyard selection, who was a very game winner for Sandown Handicap, he's a pretty smart sort as well. In fact, if you look at his times for that race, his time was faster than Westover in the Classic Trial or Emily Upjohn in the Novice Stakes. And of course, as you correctly said, Al Kareem won at York as well. So, and the Carl Birkyard's on fire at the moment, and they had the 3 winners there today.
Yes.
They've had a few this week. And there's also another horse in the race who ties in with Al Kareem as well. That's Mr. Big Stuff as well, who you'd have to be respected. But I'm going to go with a horse I saw run at Newmarket last time out, and it's a horse called Israel. And I was quite taken by him. He won in the concluding 3-year-old handicap, and a race that's produced some useful types over the past few years. In a race where it paid to be prominent, both the first and second were ridden in that manner. Israel dwelt at the start. He was a little bit too keen at the start in the early stages, perhaps overly so. Not quite as bad as Rogue Bear today at York. And he was a winner on his debut as a 2-year-old over a mile at Doncaster. He followed that with a good second at Salisbury over the same trip in very different conditions. Both of those races have proved strong form. There have been plenty of winners from his second start, particularly so. Didn't look quite as forward as the front two in appearance, and coming from off the pace, as we know at Newmarket this year, has proved a little bit difficult at times. But I thought there was a lot to like about the way he finished off the race, especially when meeting the rising ground. He looked if you watch him going through the dip, he did look a little bit awkward. You look at his pedigree, he's out of an Oaks and King George winner to Gruder. It won't be a surprise to see him stepped up in trip next time out. I actually haven't done that, but he should be strip a lot fitter, and I think be more educated after what was a very promising reappearance. So whilst I respect Red Vineyard and certainly Mr. Big Stuff in this, I'm going to go with Israel for a couple of points win.
Good stuff, Andy. So 2 points, Israel. Ran well behind Educator, probably be strong form at HQ. 9 to 2 available with William Hill, Coral and Ladbrokes. Good luck if you can get on with Coral and Ladbrokes. 9-2 there is Andy's price for his 2-point win. Thank you very much for that, Andy. Coming on to my 2-pointer. Hoping this does the business. Quite interested in the horse at 11-4. 135 is where we go, the Carnarvon Stakes. And when you're in trouble and had a bad punting day like I've had today, a real pits one, a real bad one, you go to the shirts, you go-to trainer for some love and winners. Tiber Fleur. I thought he was very unlucky not to beat the Carl Burke horse, El Caballo, at Newcastle. He gave El Caballo a lot of start and made absolutely oodles of late ground. Nearly pegged him when it was an unusual tailwind at Newcastle that day rather than the normal headwind, which makes them stop. And Tiber Fleur has got a lot going for him. He will get better over 7 furlongs, but nevertheless, I think Newbury's a good galloping 6, and I'm more than happy to side with him at 11-4 because I think he's a very, very good horse. And Tom Marquand in the saddle, so that's my 2-pointer at 11-4 with Corals and Ladbrokes again. Good luck with that, getting on it. Their prices. Right, I'll swing us round then, chaps, for the maximum stakeroonies, and I'm off to HQ. The dreaded HQ with the old stands rail. Hopefully there's not too much trouble here, but this is a serious bet for me. In the 150 race, it's the Denbury Homes Fairway Stakes over Romana Quarter. And again, this is where we go, the shagging shirt. Post Impressionist. This is a really, really good horse, and all the nerds and the Simon Rowlands and etc. They'll be all over this because big sectional times. He was incredibly impressive at Ayr in what was a modest race, but he made all the ground up from the wrong position again and won powering away. The debut was just the same when he was held up at Nottingham, end up beating one of Martin Mead's, I believe, Barley, second to Barley, not beating him. Sorry about that. And that's really good form because at the end of the day, this horse is capable of, I think, of a stone more than what he's shown on sort of time form ratings, racing post ratings. And I think he's going to take the absolute world of beating in this. This is a really good horse. So that's it. That's where my maximum is. First impression is, let's hope Stevie Donohoe doesn't mess this up. And the 3-pointer is 4-1 with Ladbrokes and Coral. Good luck with that. And at William Hills. So that's my best. Okay, Andy, coming back to you for your 3-pointer.
We're going to Thirsk, 440. And I just think I was writing about this one the other week, Northern Express. And I don't think anyone's going to have missed. I'm not sure this would have qualified for a Jimmy Lindley because you'd need to be Stevie Wonder to have missed this. So when it ran over 7 furlongs at Musselburgh, but he looked probably about the unluckiest horse of the day when he came second in a 0-100 4-year-old plus handicap over 7 furlongs. There were 3 of the front 4 all up with the pace from the start. Typical Musselburgh race, really. But the odd one out was very much Northern Express, who made a bit of his own trouble by being slowly away from a good draw in stall 2. He was short of room at various stages up the home straight, and he was very much the best of those who came from off the pace. It does seem that he's been more successful since being ridden this way. Both last year's wins at York and Ayr were gained from coming from off the pace. I mean, if you try that at Musselburgh, tactics are usually fraught with danger. In the end, that's what got Northern Express beaten there. But I think back on a slightly more galloping trap at Thirsk, he's probably got a bit more time to unwind down the home straight. In a race where the pieces of the jigsaw fall a little bit more kindly, I think it'd be hard to beat. He's probably got Boardman to beat in this, but the Dodds team are in pretty decent form. I'll have 3 points on the old noggin.
Lovely. 3 points at 4-1. Generally available, yes. Very eye-catching he was last time at Musselburgh, Andy. So good luck with that. 3 points on that Northern Express at 4-1. Okay, last and certainly not least, John, the max bet, please.
The max bet is on the telly, actually. It's in the 210 at Newbury, and it is number 4, Fox's Tales, of Andrew Baldings. The reason I like this, apart from the fact I still think this is a horse with some progression in it, and fairly well treated on official figures, also is the state of the opposition. I've got it in my head that Scope wants some slop.
Yeah.
A Shaqab and another one. Well, there's a Shaqab trained by Roger Varian, who's currently in appalling form.
Yes.
Il Arab, it's debatable now whether this one's turning into a twat. Outbox seems to jackknife Holly Doyle into that hard pulling position every time it runs now.
Yeah.
And without a fight, he's coming back from a fairly nasty looking blowout at Maidan back in March. So I can't particularly have that one being fit. So I think this is a bit of a standout here.
Yeah, interesting. I also felt, I mean, we can come into this in further detail, but Ashada as well, obviously, he's shouldering the Group 1 penalty, and she's never taken on colts in her career yet. So she's raced against fillies only, first time against colts, and gets the old £7 penalty against the colts. So I don't think that's great placing for a stable out of form. So good stuff, John. So 3 points on the noggin.
Absolutely.
Fox's Tails 100-30 with Bet365. Coral and Ladbrokes. They're all standout prices tonight. They must be skinned. They need to take some bets. They standout prices on everything, you know. So they've banned everybody, and it's anyway.
I thought they have standout prices.
Yeah,
you put the prices up if you're not going to learn, isn't it?
Absolutely. Right. I hope you find that informative in terms of your weekend's punting. Obviously, some you'll agree with, some you'll disagree with. And at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do. Point you in a certain direction, and it's entirely up to you which way you go before you have your doubles and trebles and then post your picture of the steak that you're having at the end of the day saying, rate my steak after I've landed a £20 treble.
As long as it comes on a plate and not on a dustbin lid or some ridiculous other thing that you see people serving food on these.
Yeah, all sorts these days. Chunky 4 chunky chips in a bowl apparently is really good now, and we used to get a plate full of chips. But
steak on a slate. That's what you
steak on a slate and bets on the slate. That's what we want.
Exactly. Everything on the fucking slate.
We just need another outing at that place you took me to after we'd been to York last time.
The Brazilian. The
Brazilian was excellent. What was that?
Yes.
The minted lamb.
The minted lamb was an absolute nap. Yes. That's proper lads venues. That none of this steak on a slate.
Not one for the vegetarians. That.
Absolutely. Okay, no, right. We'll go on to the television races tomorrow. We'll have a look at all of them. We shall start off at Newbury, where they have 4. And the first is the Carnarvon Stakes, where I have tipped Tiber Fleur, currently market leader 11-4. Andy, any thoughts on that?
I like Tiber Fleur as well. I haven't tipped a shagging shirt for ages, but I do like Tiber Fleur. I mean, all his form is on the all-weather, but it's pretty good. It's pretty decent form. I do notice in the quotes here that he's put him in several different races as well. But I think it's a good race, this, isn't it? Looks some interesting types in it. But I did think that the Tiber Flow was probably the one that I like best. I'm not sure I like the price that much, but I think he's got a big chance if he transfers his all-weather form to that. He went very close. Was it Newcastle over 6 on Good Friday? And he looks to be a very, very decent horse. So I would row in with the old shagging shirt himself here.
Good stuff, John. Interested with the pedigree of Tiberflow, because he's by Caravaggio. The mother is a Ravens Pass mare, and she was very useful. She was 110 for Mick Windmill, so that means 125 for anyone else. And this won the think, if I remember right, it won a Group 3 at Goodwood one day, pissed up under Iron Hands, and I think that all her pedigree and their running, his running style points to further in distance. Already won over 7 twice. The shirt's dropped him to 6. Why do you think that is? But where everyone can see this horse wants 7 at the moment. Is this just sort of an education thing from the shirt?
The horse is probably shining plenty of speed. And,
yeah.
You know, I think he'll be all right in this tomorrow. As you know, I'm rather depressed about this race because Joseph Twat has ruined my week.
Yes.
By declaring the organiser.
Yes.
He's given organiser fans worldwide a slap in the face by saying this was always the plan to start him here. Well, if that was the case, why the hell did he put him in that handicap at Newmarket at the Craven rating?
Of 97.
Yes.
When basically he's now got to race against the favourite and be £9 wrong.
Yes. And if he runs really well and just gets dipped by the favourite, nobody gets paid and he goes up. So, yes. Joseph, I hope your next shit is a hedgehog. And I hope it comes out after engaging reverse gear. Thank you.
Great stuff. Right, we'll move on to the 210. The Aston Park Stakes, now named the Al Rayyan Stakes. John's covered this off fairly nicely, I felt, regarding Fox's Tails. And I've nothing really to add other than that Eshada, obviously, with the Group 1 penalty affiliate, then taking on Colts, is not the ideal placement, I wouldn't have thought, unless they were having just a little bit of a float up. But Andy, why did you see this?
It wasn't a race I was gagging to have a bet in. I'm interested to see. I'm probably a watcher. I want to see how scope goes here for Rafe or Ralph.
Yes.
If you watch the Patrick Veach interviews, he said that Rafe prefers Ralph. So
interesting.
There's been 3 new ones this week, but all very interesting. And the original ones were interesting as well. But Rafe prefers Ralph, but God knows.
Ralph prefers Lurpak.
I don't know. And the train driver's on board. And I thought, Scope was very good last year. I'm interested to see. I mean, this one has got them. He's got to give weight away all round, so it's going to be a tough old ask. But I presume this is a bit of a tune-up for the Ascot Gold Cup. Could just be a bit vulnerable over 1.5 miles, but I would be very, very interested to see how that runs with a view to the Gold Cup in a few weeks' time. But apart from that, I won't be investing. But I was interested to see how Scope goes, because it is a colt I do particularly like.
Yeah, probably wants more juice in the ground with the ground drying. I don't know what Newbury's plans are overnight to water the course, but I mean, you never know with these. You'll wake up and they've stuck 6 millimeters on, and that's the thing. But to check the ground in the morning, folks, Scope will certainly appreciate plenty of fuss. And I reckon they'll look after Scope tomorrow, whatever happens, because I think this is not really the plan. This is just here to bring Scope forwards. Okay, 2:45. It's the BetVictor London Gold Cup, and me and Andy are head to head here with two good choices really towards the top of market in Israel and Red Vineyard. John, did you have any take on this?
Thought the Pulga might go quite well for Roger and Harry. I thought that was a nice little pipe opener on the 22nd of April, but I didn't really have a handle on how things might pan out in this, to be honest. I just think there's a few snippets of form where you can make a case for that the Pulga being reasonably handicapped at worst, and possibly well handicapped even. And I think going up in trip won't hurt it at all.
Yeah, I think it's a really good race, and despite me and Andy tipping up in this, Surrey missed fine physical specimen by Ken Darjon, who need quick ground on turf when they go on turf. So if it is riding fast, that would boost my confidence about making sure I don't lose on Surrey Mist. That seems fair enough off 85, won quite well last time as well. So again, it's a competitive affair. So like I say, Andy mentioned like Mr. Big Stuff as well. That was behind Dubai Crown. Desert Crown, the Derby favourite at Nottingham last autumn. Chased home Yanafi and then Al Karim. So there's lots of horses that can step forward here, and yeah, it is a tricky sort of affair. Okay, we'll go to the Lockinge. It's hard to be original in this, isn't it, chaps?
I think I might be having a little dive into the without favourite market.
Yeah,
I would be if I could get the 11-4 on Real World with bet £3.65, but I'm restricted there heavily to about £1.25. But Real World would be quite interesting. I mean, there's not many horses win a Hunt Cup in the style and manner that he did last year, albeit with a possible draw bias last year. And then he went up to Group 2 standard at Longchamp in what was an unbeaten campaign after winning another Group 2 at Meydan. It just didn't take to, I don't think he took to the dirt surface out there. I think he's quite interesting tomorrow. I mean, I'd be looking at him without the favourite would be my way of playing this, but I don't really see Bailly getting beaten, but I'd rather try and back a couple in the without favourite market than back Bailly at what 2's on. Probably Mother Earth and Real World in the without favourite market would probably be a better way to go than trying to back Bailly at 2's on in the ordinary market, shall we say? But again, it's not a race that I'm desperate to get involved with.
Indeed, John. How do you play this?
Kitchen door open, give a little whistle. Come on in, Digby.
I knew the dog was coming in. Yeah.
Basically, I think Bailly will win it. Chindit should provide hours of amusement for Hannon fans worldwide. Telling them again that he wants further than a mile. Obviously, he'll go from here after running on well to the much more suitable Queen Anne, get stuffed there, and probably go to France after that. Feel a bit sorry for Chindit, actually. Not as sorry as I feel for Etonia now. Not so long ago, I was rated just about the same sort of horse as Chindit, but that one seems to have been completely spanned up. I think Real World will probably be second. There you go. Yeah,
like I agree with Andy's commentary regarding without the favourite market. I think I'd be looking at Real World as well. I'll be honest though. If you can get, I think around the 2's on mark, I think it's quite fair for this. I'm not advocating punters get involved at that sort of price, but you know, there are odds on shots and odds on shots that look good and bad, and you know, and I just think at sort of around 1 to 2 mark, I think this would be all right. Because seeing an interview recently with Jim Crowley, he had a bit of a glint in his eye regarding Baid when he was asked. I think somebody interviewed him at Newmarket and asked about Baid at the Guineas meeting, and he said yeah, his work's pretty impressive. So I don't think there's any regression there. So if there's no regression,
on the plus side, if us and all the listeners smash the piss out of this, we could leave the blogger with Ray's on tomorrow.
I was just about to say, you might as well check if the blogger's on yet, whether he's bocked it. He could start wars, that lad, I tell you.
Well, we've got one better. Golf Club 2019, bless him, poor lad. He's not had the best of weeks. And Golf Club 2019, if you're listening, let us know if you're on Baid.
I saw his comment on Jawal.
Yes. He's had a rough week, old lad. He's stuck when he should have twisted. He's turned left when he should have turned right. And you know, everyone's intrigued to know whether Baid's.
I thought Jawal might be getting a mention in the Jimmy Lindley section.
Yeah, the Portland
Yeah. I did think that.
It's the thing is with York, as we all know this, that it's a funny track in that you get rolling over that 5 and 6 furlongs. Sometimes you just don't come back, and
no.
It's hard for horses to. So Jawal's swinging away like the second coming, but whilst I think yes, you know, it's certainly an eye catcher. It's not the track to do that. You know, you want to do that at Doncaster and Ascot, and you know, nice big long with slight uphill finishes, possibly with a bit of stiff breeze into the face of the front runners. So yeah, I think that's the problem with Jawal. That's just the wrong place sometimes for Jawal's tactics to come off as well. Okay, we'll switch over to Newmarket, and 150 is the Fairway Stakes, where I've made my case for the shirt. John, I'll come to you first for your thoughts on this one.
Well, one, I'm quite surprised Charlie Appleby is pitching Ottoman Fleet straight into a race of this calibre.
Yeah.
Rather than picking up his mate.
Yeah.
I'm even more surprised at the price, 6 to 4.
Yes, it seems rather well punted.
Yeah, which might indicate that the Newbury maiden is getting a bit more credence than it deserves. Which is a bit of a blow for Lionel fans, who will probably be looking at 47 when he tries to bust his maiden. So that's like the focal point for me, that race, because this Ottoman Fleet, how it runs tomorrow, will tell me a little bit more about the Newbury race. So I'm kind of hoping he runs well, but I think the price is ridiculous, really. Yeah.
It has surprised me because I've watched it several times just to see where the prices come from. He was green Ottoman Fleet, but I did feel that the big eye catcher was Lionel in the race. And I'll be honest, you know, I'm not so sure how good that maiden is in terms of certainly the winner, Natural World. He looks 95 to 100. So they're saying, well, Ottoman Fleets ran green and ran him close and this, that, and the other. But I'm not so sure. I get it. Look, see, the Appleby team is a very, very good operation, and you know they're having a lot of winners. But it's just very short. Andy, I'm going to come to you for some inspiration as to why this is 6 to 4.
Yeah, well, I couldn't work it out, to be honest with you. I didn't think the drop in distance was an obvious move either. But I mean, you know, full respect for Charlie Appleby and what he's done this year, and the Doylers riding well as well. I thought this was quite in terms of price, it's not attractive given the depth in the race, because I think when you look at it, you're thinking there's at least 3 others in this who I would fancy. Zane Surinder, post-impressionist, who I was I mean, I only beat Dust Carts last time out, but you couldn't fail to be impressed. And even Groundbreaker and the wild card in the race, if there is that stand side bias, and Joe, 97-year-old Joe Fanning gets this thing out in front. Austrian Theory for the kilts now, plural, could roll along in front, and you just don't know, because today, I mean, there were 3 or 4 races today. If you haven't seen the races today, get on that stands rail. If it's the same again, and we all know the kilts horses, they don't stop. And it just seems so hard for some decent horses to come from behind. There was just nothing coming from the back, or even wider out. I don't know what they've done to the course, but we've seen it before there. So it makes me a race a little bit wary. I'm not sure I'd be steaming in at 11 to 8 if the horses, it's dropping in trip. I mean, I'd rather be with. I mean, rather than lay that, I'd probably rather back a couple of the others, and Zane Surinder and Post Impressionist stand out to me. That would be my way of going. Another winner for the shirt, maybe.
Yeah, let's hope so. Okay, we'll move on to the 225. Very well backed, even at the time of recording, which is a 620 BST. Haymaker is now into 11 to 4 from 9 to 2. Was very well bet last time as well for Dirty Huey, and obviously they knew what they got last time. I know people say, well, the seconds ran terrible today, that one of Prescott's, but I just think that's too bad to be true today. I wouldn't read into that as being bad form. But he did have the right part of the track last time, Haymaker, and he's gone for Harry Davis to take the extra weight off. I thought this was a really competitive affair. Andy's tipped Ernie's Valentine, which I do think is a very good case. Pocket the Profit needs softer ground. Just going through a few of the runners. Harry 3 ran second to Ingrator, again on the right part of the track last time. Le Special ties in with Ingrator from the Kempton Maiden. What are we saying here, chaps? Obviously, we know you, Andy.
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah. So, John, I'll come to you for your assessment.
I think River Pride will win this.
Do you know?
Yeah, because I think it'll get a soft turn on the front.
Well, as we know, like Andy pointed out on the previous race, and now Newmarket played out today, that's possibly the right sort of outlook. So you think this will just bomb off in front? And
well, I think given the stall positions, I think he's in pole position to get across and make all look around. I can't really say anybody pressing hard, I think he's pretty good each way bet at 11 to 1 ish.
Well, yeah, I mean, barring Haymaker, which went bananas last time over the 7, they're dropping in 6. They'll go forwards.
Yeah, I think they're dropping rough though.
Yeah.
This is in 10. This one's in 8. I think this one's going to go and chop him off myself.
John likes that. 11 to 1. River Pride. Richard Hannon, Sean Levy. Okay, we'll go on to the 3 o'clock, which is our final race, and is the final ITV race at Newmarket. And Shine So Bright is currently 7 to 2 Fav. Andy, I'm coming to you here for your thoughts on this race.
Yeah, I mean, what did we have? Shine So Bright beat Wizard D'Amour last time out, giving him, £13 to beat him a length. Wizard D'Amour's a couple of pound better off. Again, I think it'll be a lot depend on how it's run tomorrow. I suppose the horse that it could bounce back is this Salium, who was really well. I mean, you go back to his second in the Lincoln, that gives him a good chance. Then completely blew out last time out in the Spring Cup when he was held up. I'm not sure I'd want to back anything that was held up there, really. So if they're going to ride him the same way, that'd just be a little bit, put me off a little bit. With the form of the Birketts, I would think the Wizard D'Amour might just be able to reverse that form with Shine So Bright. There wasn't an awful lot in it last time out. The race sort of falls apart a little bit after that. There's a lot of horses in here that you just don't really know a lot about. Again, it's not a particularly appealing betting heat, but I think if it came to it, I'd probably be siding with Wizard de Moor, who's very, very consistent, to possibly just turn the form round with Shine So Bright.
Yeah, interesting points. Like you say, Salim does have some interesting form. Like he's
I suppose the other one is Quintilius, but again, he's a little bit of a unknown quantity. We haven't seen him since he finished midfield in a listed 7 furlong at Maidan in February.
Yeah, he's definitely a difficult one to work out.
He did look a bit. The third in the Britannia is good, but he did look a little bit. I'll be kind. He did look a bit quirky last year on occasions.
Yeah,
I think that was, if I'm being kind, but you'd sort of respect him. But I'm not completely sure he's the full shilling.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, John.
I've got a question for you two lads here.
Go on.
Cool.
Humanitarian finishes last, beaten 10 lengths by the horse that's next to last. You are now Jockey Club handicappers. What do you do, gentlemen? What do you do?
I think you have to look at the intent of the ride, etc. Yeah, I think you'd probably knock. I'd start off with 3 and then look to extend more if I felt that the horse was. But yeah, they've left him alone. It seems. Give him a bit
of a chance. Yeah, I'd probably knock 2, 3, 4 if I was feeling generous off him. But 105 seems a little bit pricey, doesn't it?
Fascinating campaign, though, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
Last one for Towser and Slim was in the Eber. Here we are rocking up over 7.
You'll have to get Stuart on, friend of the show.
Yeah, a friend of the show. Trainer Stuart, what are you doing? What mark do you want?
Exactly.
Stuart on, ask him about handicappers. There you go.
Fascinating, this horse.
Does Stuart spied a 0 to 90 somewhere later in the year?
Could he let us know?
Has he spied it?
Could he let us know?
Yes. A friend of the show, Stuart. Yes, just let us know. You can let the owners get on first, but let us know after, straight away. And we'll be your friend for life. Humanitarian. Interesting, yeah, like you say. I thought this was a real tricky race. Just one hint for listeners. I always like looking at stables in and out of form, and the poor old Marco Botta yard has been in the massive doldrums for a while, but sign of resurgence. Silver Gun won at Windsor on the 9th of May, and they had another winner today with Silver Samurai under Will Buick. So I just wonder if the carrots have changed in the Botta yard. So maybe take a look at. So he's got one in this. I don't particularly fancy it because it's hooded for the first time, dropping in trip. It's stall 1, so it's nowhere near the rails.
If you want stables in form, though, I mean, in this race, look no further than massive Blazer fan Carl Burke.
Oh, totally, absolutely. I mean, the grey looks in such good fettle as well. You know, really looked at this grey in his last 2 runs. He looks in absolutely top condition. His coat looks fantastic. It's hard to tell with greys, but really does look in really fine fettle.
That thing that Carl had win the last at York was about the only thing that's come from off the pace in sprints this week.
It didn't just come from off the pace. It
came from last, didn't it?
And moved across, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Corker.
It probably did 6 furlongs.
Yeah.
And pitched up. Carl be getting selling your Blazer out of that.
Yep. All good. Right. So that's it. We've covered the 7 TV races. We have given you our very best for this weekend, and we certainly hope to line your pockets with silver. We are back on Sunday. It's me, myself, and Lorne Malvo. Me, myself, and Irene. Me, John, and Lorne Malvo. Sorry, that's the gin. Tune in on Sunday. It's around.
We got a show for you.
Oh, absolutely. It's an absolutely jam-packed show. We've already got some rather amusing content and some Barstew's exclusives to come as well. So yeah, it's all go, let's say, on the show this Sunday, and we're back then as normal for next Friday's show. I think the lineup is Quentin, Neville, me and John next week. So will Andy stay atop of the table, or can we topple him? We shall find out. Hope you enjoyed the show. Bye for now.